Madam President, I rise today to discuss the confirmation process for Judge Brett Kavanaugh. By any honest measure, President Trump's nominee, Judge Kavanaugh, is exceptionally well qualified to serve on the Supreme Court. When he was nominated to the D.C. Circuit, he already had stellar credentials, a keen intellect, and an impressive knowledge of the law. He was confirmed on the D.C. Circuit Court in 2006 following years of Democratic obstruction. I followed his work closely on that court for over a decade. His judicial record never ceases to impress. A nominee with such a sterling reputation should receive wide bipartisan support. But over the years, I've seen firsthand the deterioration of the judicial confirmation process. When Justice Kennedy announced his retirement, I knew that Democrats would again play politics with the Supreme Court. It's what they've done for more than 3 decades, and it's a matter of great concern to me. Faced with an eminently qualified nominee, Democrats are casting about looking for something, really anything, to stop Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation. Because Democrats want political judges, they politicize the confirmation process. This is what they did to oppose Justice Neil Gorsuch when he was nominated. They took a few cases out of the thousands he had decided and distorted what he said. They attacked him as unfit to serve. They said he was unqualified to be a justice. But Justice Gorsuch had an unassailable record as a principal jurist on the federal bench. So we fought back against the misrepresentations, the caricatures, and the exaggerations. The American people saw through the Democratic ruse. They saw the kind of justice Neil Gorsuch would be, a justice who says what the law is, not what he wants it to be, a justice who respects the separation of powers, a justice who will stand up to the executive and legislative branches when they overreach. And I believe the American people will see the same thing when they look at Judge Kavanaugh. The debate over Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation should be a debate over his qualifications. Does he understand the proper role of a judge under our Constitution? Does he have the experience needed? Will he respect the Constitution and the rule of law? With hundreds of opinions, Judge Kavanaugh has built a reputation as one of the most respected and influential judges in the entire country. His incisive reasoning has led the Supreme Court to adopt his position in at least 12 cases. Fidelity to the Constitution and to the rule of law are hallmarks of his opinions. Importantly, his vast body of work shows a deep commitment to the separation of powers. His opinions demonstrate his commitment to the principle that judges should interpret the law, not make it. Judge Kavanaugh should be asked questions about his rulings and his approach to the law. As a judge, he has developed a reputation for his preparation in court. I have no doubt that he can stand up under the most rigorous questioning. But what we've seen so far is a mixture or mix of hyperbole, mudslinging, and distortion. Attacks aimed at Judge Kavanaugh have not focused on whether he is qualified to serve. They have not focused on whether he understands the role of a judge. They have not focused on how he will interpret the Constitution and the laws passed by Congress. When it comes to what we should be asking about a nomination, what we've seen so far is not even in the ballpark. After scouring Judge Kavanaugh's financial disclosure, progressives thought they struck gold with a shocking revelation that would surely turn public opinion against him. So what salacious scandal did they uncover? What damning evidence did they find that would dash all hopes of confirmation? Well, you're not going to believe this, Madam President, but they discovered that Judge Kavanaugh enjoys America's pastime. That's right. Judge Kavanaugh loves baseball. Horrors. Honestly, I couldn't believe it either. But wait, it gets worse. Not only does Judge Kavanaugh love baseball, he was once a season ticket holder at National Stadium. Okay, but here's the real kicker. Judge Kavanaugh bought those season tickets with a credit card of all things. I know, Madam President, I was speechless too. And I've been wrecking my brain all week trying to figure out how a credit card-using baseball fan could slip through the cracks of the White House vetting process. Now, of course, I'm being facetious to prove a point. We're only 9 days into the confirmation process, and progressive opposition is already beyond parity. Of course, this is nothing new. Everything we've seen so far comes directly from the Democrats' playbook. Throw every rumor, half-truth, and exaggeration at the nominee, and just see what sticks. When nothing sticks, double down on partisan attacks. Take past statements out of context. Mischaracterize his positions. And lob a hyperbolic Hail Mary if you have to. Do everything you can to denigrate, disparage, and dehumanize the nominee, no matter his qualifications or character. If Democrats continue down this path, we're going to lose all ability to debate matters of public importance. We cannot expect that all debate will be well-reasoned, but opposition should, at the very least, be rational. It should never be hysterical. The rhetoric used to oppose Judge Kavanaugh crosses that line. Just last week, when speaking about Judge Kavanaugh's impressive resume, I said you could not knock Yale, Harvard, or Georgetown. Maybe I spoke too soon. Shortly after the announcement that Judge Kavanaugh would be the nominee, Yale Law School released a statement with praise of Judge Kavanaugh from professors and administrators. One professor even noted that, quote, politics have deeply harmed our Supreme Court nomination process, unquote. But she lauded Judge Kavanaugh as a, quote, true intellectual, unquote, and, quote, incomparable mentor, unquote, and a, quote, fair-minded jurist who believes in the rule of law, unquote. She went on to say that he, quote, he is humble, collegial, and cares deeply about the federal courts, unquote. The response from some Yale Law School students, staff, and alumni was swift, forceful, uncompromising, and completely ridiculous. Quote, people will die if he is confirmed, unquote, as these Yale alumni were feverishly opposing the nomination. Judge Kavanaugh was spotted volunteering his time with a local charity to distribute food to the poor. His decision to keep his commitment to volunteer the week he was nominated to the Supreme Court says more about Judge Kavanaugh than any letter could. This overwrought reaction sadly comes as no surprise. Crying wolf is the left's trademark strategy in attempts to sabotage Republican nominees. Back in 1990, a group opposing then-nominee David Souter warned that he was a threat to, quote, lives, health, and livelihoods of millions of women and their families, unquote. It wasn't true then. It isn't true now. I hope that the Senate can raise the level of debate as we consider the nomination. In doing so, we should focus on whether Judge Kavanaugh is qualified. I hope my Democratic colleagues can resist the temptation to politicize this nomination as they have with others in the past. Some of what we are seeing now has me worried. We've also heard a lot from Democrats about how important transparency is to the confirmation process. Because of Judge Kavanaugh's long record of public service to our nation, the executive branch has been asked to produce a large number of documents. Democrats have been demanding that they be given access to these documents as quickly as possible. Some of my colleagues expressed shock. The Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein requested that assistant United States attorneys help review these documents. The truth is that the Office of Legal Policy at the Justice Department always assists with nominations, and that office is composed mostly of career attorneys. It is not uncommon for attorneys from other offices in the Justice Department to help with the review of nominations. The government attorneys at the Department of Justice who work on nominations are extraordinarily thorough. Given the reportedly large number of documents, it makes sense that to facilitate this process, the DOJ would seek extra help. When we spoke last week, Judge Kavanaugh said he was proud of his opinions, and he hoped people would actually read them rather than just read about them. I think those who do that will be just as impressed by Judge Kavanaugh's work as I am. I hope senators will take the time to sit down with him. Judge Kavanaugh has spent more than 23 years in public service. A good man, a decent man, an honest man. Judge Kavanaugh is the type of person we should all hope is nominated to a seat on the United States Supreme Court. And that's why I am so pleased that President Trump nominated Judge Kavanaugh. I intend to do everything I can to support his nomination, and I hope that all other senators will do the same.